Kim Kardashian West, you, really exemplify winning in the new economy. Understanding technology, using technology, building an amazing follower base, building an amazing business. So today, what we really want to do is get into your brain, understand how you started, understand how you built this amazing franchise, but even more importantly, understand how do you keep it up. So tell us, Kim, how did you start in media, in the television world, and then decided to really go online and take advantage of social media?
Yeah, well, I always knew that I wanted to be on TV, but I was always fascinated by reality TV. I know that sounds like a ridiculous goal, maybe, because especially back then, reality TV, it just wasn't really that popular.
Well, I think you defined it. I think you defined it and then you owned it.
I mean, but being like a kid at 11 years old, or maybe I was 12 or 13, seeing The Real World, and that was the first reality show of really its kind. I remember seeing that and thinking, this is really what I want to do. And I would tell my friends, and now I'm so blessed to work with the same production company as The Real World. So I kind of always knew what I wanted to do, but I never really had a plan or a goal of how to figure that out. I would say in life, I'm very organized and I'm very thought out, but I did wing it. And I think it's okay to wing it sometimes.
I couldn't agree more, by the way. I mean, one of the things that I talk about in Power Up is to really not try to figure out how to have the winning strategy, because you just never know. You just have to respond to opportunity. And
it's about adapting to those opportunities, and it's about figuring it out. And maybe at the beginning of my career, I would have done anything, maybe things that I didn't necessarily believe in, products that I was selling, anything from maybe shoes and cupcakes to workout clothes.
You sold cupcakes?
Everything.
Really?
Everything, you name it, I tried it at least. And the evolution of really finding my confidence and my power was an evolution, and I got to do it in front of the world, figuring it out and figuring out what I really wanted to be into and what I was really passionate about. But the main message that I want to tell everybody, especially women, is it's okay to figure it out as you go. It's kind of like when you're a new mom and you think you're just supposed to have it all figured out, and you just are winging it. You're figuring it out as you go. And it doesn't mean that you're less of a successful person because you were figuring it out as you go. I think that's everyone in life.
A lot of startups use the word pivoting. And in technology world, we use the word pivoting all the time, maybe overused, but it's exactly what you're talking about, where you try something, and if it doesn't work, you try another version, and if that doesn't work, you try a third time. But what it takes is resilience. What it takes is the opportunity to hang in there, not give up, and that's a great message, I think, for all of us, but especially women, because I think women are more perfectionists than men are.
Well, I don't know if you know my husband. That wouldn't be the truest statement. But yes, I totally, I believe that as long as you learn from every step of the way and every mistake or every success, everything that you do, as long as it's a part of your story and as long as you learn from it, you're doing the right thing.
In the technology world, we also use another term very often, and that's transparency. And I really do think that Kim Kardashian West has defined the term transparency. You are willing to open up your life and basically be on camera, share a lot of your personal life. How do you balance that? How do you balance privacy with, in fact, allowing the world to see how you live and how you conduct your day-to-day life?
I think at the beginning, I didn't even know what the word privacy really meant. I was very okay with people knowing every detail of my life. As you get a little bit older and you have kids and you realize you do want to value some privacy, I figured out a really good balance of sharing what I want to share. I think, there definitely is oversharing, especially when safety can be a factor and it can, when there's so many eyes on you. I learned firsthand that if you share too much, it could be a little bit dangerous at times. And so I was really cautious, and I move really cautiously now that I have kids, but I still love to be open and honest, and that's who I am, and that's my brand. And there is a way to have both and to share, but not feel like your whole life has been about, or is being used just for social media. You do have to have balance.
Absolutely, I agree. I want to switch and talk about what you and I discussed yesterday, and that is, how do you decide to bring out another product? You have had this amazing franchise for multiple years now. Today you have 250 million followers, and your followers are not slowing down. In fact, if anything, they're growing. So how do you keep your franchise going? How do you keep your brand going? And most importantly, when you're bringing out a new product, how involved do you get?
So every product that like if we're just talking beauty and fragrance and shapewear, those are the companies that I own. They're not licensing deals. So I'm involved every step of the way, from the packaging to the logo design to pretty much everything.
That's a lot of detail. So you don't delegate the pieces like a logo design or color to others? Do you actually oversee that, make the final decisions?
Visual. Yeah, the visual aspect of it, I like to oversee it all. Shapewear would be maybe a little bit different, because if we go into retail, there's other people that will do that instead, so I won't handle all of those relationships. But what I found is every time there's a product that I want to release, it works when it's super authentic to you. If you love something so much, or if you're really good at something. So for me, shapewear, I feel like I've been creating my own shapewear for over a decade. With beauty, I feel like I've, got my first makeup lesson when I was 14 years old. And so every time I want to put out a product, I just have to make sure that it's super authentic and really thought out. And I do it every step of the way, from the press box that we deliver to all the influencers, to the campaign, to the photographer. The look and feel of everything is me.
But it's not just physical world products that you have. You actually rolled out a game, and it's been a digital product that's been going on for, 5 years now?
A little over 5 years now.
And the character seems to follow you, actually. So tell me about that. How involved are you with a computer game, and understanding that most games have a shelf life of about 18 months? You have yours going for about 5 years.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of Kim Kardashian Hollywood. It was really my first tech venture. A tech company approached me in Silicon Valley, and I was actually unsure at first. Do I want to do a video game? How would I make that authentic to me? Because when you think of a celebrity in a video game, you think of more of like a basketball game or something related to sports. So the concept was really cute, and the fact that I would have a really big say in what my character would do and wear, and a lot of it, it's called Kim Kardashian Hollywood, and a lot of it has to do with the clothes that the character is wearing and buying and photo shoots and everything in Hollywood. So I think it's maintained its success due to just being so involved, you know. I think a lot of times, you know, I can't speak for anyone that I personally know, but when you hear of all these deals and these deals that especially celebrities do, they sometimes just put their name on it.
And then forget about it.
Yeah.
And you stay current and you keep it current so that actually the game is a reflection of you, it sounds like. I'm going to switch the topic to a different area now, and that is I think 250 million people, is that right, following you? When you go to bed at night, do you think about that? Because, I mean, the population of many countries in the world are not as large as your followers. So when you go home and are going to bed, do you say like,
now the pressure, now having that in my head.
yeah, how,
Well, last night I woke up at midnight being so jet lagged, and my daughter wanted to have a dance party. And so it's 2 a.m. and she's asking me to video her to send it to her best friend to show her new dance moves. And so she said, "Did you post that? Did you post it?" And just the thought of just, it's really fascinating. I mean, it's obviously there's so many benefits, and then there's, you know, some negativity as well, but just the fact that social media has evolved so much is fascinating to me, that I could easily post my dance party in the middle of the night. I'm the worst dancer, so you would not want to see this dance party on my phone. But just to know that that's even a possibility really blows my mind sometime. And
well,
I am mindful of it.
yes, and what social media has really done is really flatten the world, right? Geography no longer matters. You can be accessing people in every time zone. So when it's midnight here in Armenia, it's actually daytime in the United States. So the reach of social media is incredibly powerful. And you really have learned, I think, over time to take advantage of that and really use it cautiously. Are you a numbers person? Do you worry about your followers potentially, you know, leveling off? And how often do you check the numbers?
So I'm not the biggest numbers person on social media. I have realized that I am really mindful of not getting too worked up over it, because I do understand that's not the healthiest thing, is to worry about likes and engagement that way. I'm a numbers person when it comes to business and launches. I'm always available launch day to be on my Shopify account and seeing what's selling, what's not, just all about all the customers. I'm a numbers person in that way because I just care so much. I really want to know how a launch is going. I'm very involved that way.
Yesterday when we were together, you talked about a launch in makeup, actually, that didn't go as well as you wanted. Partly, you were saying it was because it wasn't really as authentic of what you use. Can you tell us more about that? That's a product that was not as satisfactory to you at launch.
Yeah, so I always like to do analysis of everything that I am launching, and I feel like every launch to me is really emotional. I spend time to think about the concept and the photo shoot, and because my brand is primarily direct to consumer, I feel like I have a huge responsibility to come up with the perfect campaign to the perfect product. And so sometimes, you know, the makeup that I wear is very neutral, and I'm kind of known for wearing a nude lip all the time and a more simple eye makeup, or, you know, the very specific colors. I don't really veer off of that. So when I try to do something because I really want to, I think it's fun, and I want to do a bright color, it might not sell as well because it's just not what people see me in all the time. So I am really mindful of that. going forward. I don't really get that upset about it. I just move forward. I figure out why it's not working and figure out what really does work and move on.
I'm sure everyone in the audience would like to hear how often do you launch a new product, and how much homework do you do? How much market research do you do, in fact, before you launch a new product?
So I think, well, I try to launch a new product monthly, and with fragrance and makeup and shapewear, I try to map it all out. Sometimes it'll be 2 products with different companies a month. But for market research, I really sometimes, it's good to see what's out there in the marketplace, but sometimes it's not beneficial to look to the right or look to the left all the time. If you just stay focused and look straight and do what you want to do, I have found that when I try to keep up with the trends, like do a trendy color, it hasn't served me as well. So,
but how about market research with your fans, your followers? You have this amazing access to them. Basically,
yes.
You have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram that you can reach them. Do you take advantage of like a focus group, a virtual focus group?
I absolutely do. That's the best part. That's what I think got me hooked to Twitter and really shaped my brand, because when I was launching my first fragrance, I tweeted, should I use this color pink, like a lighter pink or a darker pink? And I really did listen to the advice of what everyone was tweeting back to me. And I think that shaped a huge part of my brand, because I realized how important the fan base was, and that is who my brand is. I wanted to make products for them. And so I think ever since then, we've become this like unit together, making little drops of products that I really believe that they want.
Yeah, and in the world of technology, usually we use the word user base versus followers, but it's really the same thing. I mean, you're taking advantage of having access to your user base and taking their input, basically seeking their input first and then taking their input as you shape your new products. But the cadence of launching new products seems incredibly fast-paced, bringing out something new in such, successive order.
I do plan out really far in advance, though.
How far?
About a year. I have my yearly calendar. I just, sometimes it could be so last minute, and because it just clicks and it's right, and sometimes it's super planned out, but I try to be as planned out as possible.
And so is the yearly calendar, let's say, taking off in January, putting that together, and who are some of your most go-to, confidants, if you may, or collaborators, your executive staff in planning that calendar with you?
Yeah, so I have a really small staff of about 4 people, maybe 5, and we work really well together, and I love to have a meeting, once a week with everybody and all of our boards up.
Are they like Monday morning meetings, or how do you conduct that?
It depends on traveling and where I'm at. I mean, I'm in the office. I definitely go once a day. It's right down the street, so I'm definitely there. But I love to have meetings at my house, and just after I come back from a trip, I was super inspired by things that I saw here in Armenia, so I'll go back with some new ideas. I've thought of like 4 ideas that I'm excited about. But I love to travel. Also, when I can't think of ideas and when I feel like, what am I going to put on that calendar for a next launch, and I can't think of anything, I love to travel. And I get so many ideas traveling.
Would you mind sharing some of the ideas? You said that, your time here in Armenia inspired you. Just give us a little peek into your thinking.
Well, I thought of a good fragrance. There was, I don't want to give it away because I have to still see.
I don't want you to. I don't want you to. But just give us categories at least.
I think something in beauty, something major in beauty that
What do you mean major?
just a major idea, something I haven't done before that I was inspired by yesterday, just driving down the streets of Armenia. And then I think a fragrance I would love to do with some beautiful, fragrant Armenian flowers. So.
Sounds lovely. Okay, we will be waiting for that. We'll be following you and looking for the launch.
Oh, I love you.
Well, you're going to continue to have Kim when we're done with the fireside chat, because Kim is also joining the panel that we're going to move on to. But before we do that, I want to basically ask you specifically about being in Armenia, which we just talked about, but also being at a tech conference in Armenia. How does that make you feel?
Well, I couldn't be more proud. I had to bring my kids because just being in Armenia, I've been once before, but being able to bring my sister Courtney, who had never been here before, and all of our children, and getting the opportunity to baptize them all yesterday here in Armenia means everything to us. We'll have these memories forever. So that, just on a personal trip, that means everything. We're filming my TV show here today and on this trip, so I love being able to even use some local Armenian people here to help coordinate our trip and get it all situated. So, I mean, that in itself just means everything to me to be here. When I heard they were holding the tech conference in Armenia, I mean, it wasn't even, I couldn't say yes fast enough. It was the best,
wonderful,
excuse to come here again. So thank you for having me. And I'm just so proud. There's this huge tech conference. People back at home, I think I was telling you this yesterday, someone that works for me went to go buy something at Nordstrom's and said, oh, I need this bag because I'm traveling. And the girl that worked there said, well, where are you going? And she said, oh, Armenia. And the girl that worked there said, I'm Armenian. There's this huge tech conference in Yerevan, and everyone's going, and they have all these, it's so exciting for our country. And I was so excited that just people around the world are so excited to be here, and that a huge tech conference like this is happening in Armenia. So thank you for having me. I'm so proud to be here.
As we close the fireside chat with Kim Kardashian West, I just want to say, Kim, that I am full-blooded Armenian. I grew up in Istanbul, Turkey, and lived there until I went to college. And when I went to the United States, I was trying to, talk about this region and talk about Armenia. I would tell my best friends about the food and about the culture. And, it would go in one ear, out the other. They didn't really remember much until you came to Armenia in 2015. And then all of a sudden, my friends were quoting me facts about Armenia, the ones that hadn't even paid attention to me. So thank you for what you do, for your culture, for Armenia. And now it's time. We're going to remain seated, but they are going to bring additional chairs for the rest of the panel. And when the chairs are situated, we're going to move to the end, and I'm going to invite the other panelists.
Perfect.
Hi,
Monty.
Hi, sorry about that. Sorry, thank you very much. A round of applause, please, to Magdalena for an amazing interview as well, please. Bravo. I was going to get some chairs, going to bring on 3 more amazing panelists, so just sit tight. We'll do it as quickly as we can. Stay where you are.